In the Lays of Fionn, it says, "Sword of the Clerkling, many are they that were thine enemy, and of whom thou smotest their heads and parted them from their bodies. Man never had a barbed blade that played more havoc on good armies, arcing through the sky wide as the rainbow. Thy first name was Battle Swoop in the land of ruling Saturn. Many battles were given with thy edges, thou blue and clean-edged sword." And hello to you wherever you may be. Man is a three-storied being, and the lowest story is pagan, or concerns the primordial forces, which are remembered here and there, and occasionally even used. What is called the West is not really Christian. It is Christian, Roman, pagan, which represents the three tiers of the octave of that man. Rome was founded on many ancient legends. The term Roman Catholicism is quite accurate and includes more than just the Christian light. Here in England, people sometimes talk of pagan things. The good meaning of that would be to strengthen the foundations of the culture, as we are having great difficulty. The bad meaning of that is simply as the structure fragments. What is inside it, integrated for centuries, is now falling out and appearing. Last week we heard Gurdjieff talking about the previous age when the Jews were truly special people and very austere. Well, that was a long time ago, prior to Christianity. And I was reading today about the forms of Jewish prayer. Historically, it would seem they would speak directly to God and be heard and be understood. But even in their ancient texts, they noticed that the younger people couldn't do it anymore. If we were to take Zionism seriously, what it would require is to return very far back in history to remove all non-Jews from Israel. And not only that, but to remove all half-Jews from Israel, to remove all secular and non-practicing Jews from Israel. And only then would they have a hope of returning to that form of worship that was designed for people who are pure enough to connect with God directly, which is certainly no longer the case. And I was looking at some statistics for the United States, and it was quite shocking to me to see out of all the Americans, the Jews in America are the ones who are most in support of same-sex marriages, aside from the Buddhists who don't believe we exist. And also that of the religious communities, the Jews are those who practice the least. How can that be? How can that be if the Jews are a chosen and very holy people? Even if you do support Jewish causes, what is it exactly that you're supporting? Or people who have drifted very far away from what is holy? During the attacks on Israel last week, young Israelis were dancing around Buddhas underneath rainbow flags. Israel is a modern consumer democracy, and the young people are going less and less to the synagogue. Well, I'll read something out from one of the head rabbis in America. He says, "It is high time for a statement asserting and explaining the traditional Jewish position on homosexuality. The position of traditional Judaism on homosexual behavior is clear and unambiguous, terse and absolute. Homosexual behavior between males or between females is absolutely forbidden by Jewish law. The position of Judaism on marriage is equally clear and affirms marriage only between a man and a woman." Very good, Rabbi, and that's what I would expect to hear. But how is it then that so many Jews in America support same-sex marriage. What does that really mean? Well, as Aragorn was trying to point out, there are far too many people talking in our society. And these people cause us to see enemies where there are none, and to fight over battles that have no meaning. Although the media teaches us that there is some glorious holy war going on, there is no such thing. The battle, in fact, is not between Christian, Jew, or Muslim. The true battle, however, is always the same. In our fragmented and dying world, the voices we hear and are exposed to and are, frankly, tortured by are all the voices of those people who are outside the line of the light. And that includes most journalists, most of the media, and many politicians. And I will add that there are some people who are not religious, but who fall into the orbit of the earth. Those are the people that Gurdjieff calls obivatal, meaning that they are good souls, but they are salt of the earth. In society there are many conflicts, and people discuss them, but the real issue, the real enemy, is never on display. It is removed from view. Catholicism, on the other hand, uses various magical, energetic methods, which I can only assume it brought out of the primordial material of the European people. For some time now, I've been very bothered by what is wrong with science. And this week it suddenly, shockingly dawned on me that everything that scientists do is based on the idea that all there is molecules. And I could feel a man stand up inside of me, like in my guts. I could see him stand up and say, "My God, everything they're doing is a lie." I suppose that is one of the characters inside of me that did that. The way scientists understand the world is without any living energy in it. If I observe the world, what I experience is like a flowing energy field, and inside that flowing energy field are various entities. I'm one entity. You receive back the energy that you put out, because as an entity you are emitting a certain kind of energy. And actually your planetary body is a kind of training device, and if you use it the way it is intended, then the energetic production from the soul is increased. And a material civilization is one in which the communities can no longer distinguish between the physical structure and the energy inside. And that is what science is. They are communities of people who have fallen underneath the ability to distinguish between the physical body and the soul inside. And all the activities that human beings do, from driving the car or sitting in the office, during these activities the energy production of that person changes, and on the basis of the energy that they put out, they receive a life. All the secrets of this world are highly counterintuitive. The law of three escapes most people right until their death, because the answers do not come from playing with the objects of the world, but from an insight that comes from a higher view of the situation. The only thing that is real is the soul that is invisible. It is not part of this external phenomena which is the visible world. The soul is inside and experiences that visible phenomena.